Hey everyone, so I thought I'd go through doing Tidy Tuesday with Python and just going through what my workflow looks like and the tools I'm using. I also thought it'd be really nice to get a little bit into data analysis again, since I do a lot of software engineering on open source data tools, but less sort of data analysis these days. All right, so I'm in the Tidy Tuesday repo, and if you haven't heard of Tidy Tuesday, it's a really neat project where every week they put up a little bit of data and often an article that went along with it, and then they invite you to analyze it however you want and share it out on social media. So this is what Tidy Tuesday looks like. I'm going to go through the data and then click to 2025, and then here's the one for this week, February 25th. And it's academic literature on racial and ethnic disparities in reproductive medicine in the U.S. Okay, so a big one. I peeked at it a little bit. I haven't opened the data, but I read a little bit on this page just to sort of get up to speed. But I'm really excited to kind of just show the process. So I'm going to start from beginning to end. So I'm just going to create a repo. I'm going to call it TT for Tidy Tuesday. Okay, I'm gonna call it academic just to keep it short, and then I'm gonna use UV. So I'll do UV init, and then I'll do UV venv to create a virtual environment. I'm gonna do venv bin. Let me make this a little bigger. Then activate to. That's not right. So now the virtual environment's on, and notice we're using Python 3.9. This is a bit old, but because I work a lot on tools, I tend to use the oldest supported Python. Although for things like this, it would be nice to use a later one. All right, and then I'm gonna do UV add. I'm gonna add polars, great tables, Plotnine, and there's probably some others that I might add as we go. All right, so those are some of the big ones. Why don't I just add shiny while I'm at it, just in case we get into that. All right, so we've got some of these things added. Oh, I'm gonna also add pi arrow, since polars sometimes needs it for different things. All right, so we've got this stuff. I'm gonna remove this hello file. So now that I have these packages installed, I'm gonna open VS Code. So I did code. Nice. All right, so we're in. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm probably just gonna pull this data. So, you could, let's see. The easiest way, honestly, is probably just, so one is we could grab it in polars using, we could just read it from the URL. So here I'm gonna call this report.qmd. All right, this is a Quarto file, which I find easy to use. Academic, I'll fill that in a sec. So, all right, here's a Python block. I say Python 3, and then I'm gonna import polars as PL, and I'm gonna do pl.read CSV and this URL. All right, let's see what we got. So this one's called model dat. Maybe I'll call it that. Let me see what we're dealing with here. Okay, so we have, I think I saw there were two data sets. Model dat, article dat. Okay, so I'm gonna call these, I know we don't love the df word, but I'm gonna call this df model, and I'll call the other one df analysis, I think. Okay, so this is the first problem. Basically, polars is trying to infer the type of this data for each column, but oftentimes you need to make infer schema length way longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it infer schema length. I can't remember if you set it to none or something, you can disable it, but I think this will also do. All right, so notice that now it ran fine. So basically it was using the first 1,000 rows to try to figure out what the types were of each column. but because it was basically the first 1,000 rows weren't enough. So, okay. All right, so we have the data loaded, df model. I'm just gonna pull in the other one. Let's see, df article here. Great, very cool. Are we getting some suggestions? Okay. Oh, gotta do the same thing. Okay, so that worked. And then, so one thing to flag is notice that when I saved, you might have noticed it auto-formatted. I'm using the rough extension behind the scenes to manage a lot of this stuff. So we're using UV to do a lot of the package installation and dependency tracking. We have the rough extension in VS Code to do a lot of the formatting. And then we have, this is a Quarto document. And the reason I'm using this is because I really like this workflow where I use this interactive pane here, but then you could click this if you want to say knit it into a HTML report. You could do that. This won't be exciting at all because it doesn't have anything, but you could, for example, you could put like a little printout of it. So here we go. So I like this, that you get to sort of explore the data, but also roll up a report at the same time. And it can have like a table of contents and stuff, floating table of contents, which makes it really easy to browse and things like that. All right, so let's just keep cooking. So let me just look a little bit into this. Okay, so we're looking at academic literature on racial and ethnic disparities in reproductive medicine in the US. There's a review here that looks like it's an article. Oop, so increasing debate, okay, great, around how race and ethnicity, or if they should be used in medical research. Okay, so wow. Okay, so it's synthesis, like analyzing research, 4 themes: access to care, adherence to national guidelines, clinical outcomes, clinical trial diversity. Some different headings. And is there a kind of top of line adverse reproductive outcomes among racial and ethnic minorities as compared to white patients? Okay, so maybe that's worth looking for in this Tidy Tuesday data. Lower survival rates. Okay. All right, so let's just, because this is live, maybe we just open it and we peek around a little bit to see what's in there. This looks like each one's an article, I take it. And this looks like maybe a bunch of codings for ethnic category. It's interesting, the tables they're coding based on like table order, which is a pretty intriguing coding. And then this must be their model. So modeling the articles. Let's see, was it stratified? Group, subgroup analysis, outcome. So that seems pretty useful. Outcome measure comments. I think that, honestly, I think it'll be easier to start from the model and work backwards to see what the articles were. So let me try that out right now. All right, so this seems pretty useful. We'll come back to this graph, I think. Okay, yeah, access to care, white versus black patients. Okay, so I'm going to, let's see, let's just take a look at this model then, DF model. Great. You can also do this. I'm using Data Wrangler. Is it the best? It is not, but it's, I don't, honestly, I'm kind of mixed on how much I like it. I feel like the width, the density is a little bit funny. Like these columns are a little too wide to get a good, like a good broad kind of look at the data. So that's just to tell you though, this is Data Wrangler here. All right. So, okay, great. I'm gonna look for maybe, I think I saw there was measure comments, outcome seems useful. So sterilization at the time of cesarean delivery, measures percent, is each, it looks like there are 300 distinct values, but 7,000 rows. So they're coding, they must code for like a bunch of things in each model. So for example, you have model number here. So this article had maybe, this article had 6 models, it looks like, and they coded different things out of each of them. So basically they're doing one big, super big meta-analysis. And then this is useful because this is like, oh, did they have a sub-analysis? This is the same article. It looks like here they do, and then they're able to break it down by the subgroup. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so they're comparing the comparison group. Great. Let me try to maybe pull out. Let's see if this theme 1 is something we could try to do really fast. So figure 2, significant and persistent inequalities are demonstrated in the OBGYN literature regarding access as it pertains to maternal morbidity, utilization of assisted reproductive, and access to cancer screening. Okay, so delivery at a high volume hospital. Let's just look for that. This thing, so that's probably a measure, outcome. Let's just poke around. So I'm gonna get rid of this. DF model. So I forgot totally what I was doing. Outcome. So let's just look at, let's just select the, oh, they don't have, what is, I think it's this, unique. So I'm using polars. So I think a distinct in polars is unique. Okay. Oh, one thing it does though is it's like a keep all. So it subset on distinct columns, but it you can also do none to just, oh, maybe not. Let's see. Keep. Which of the duplicate rows to keep? Okay, so this actually this actually keeps all. It is like a keep all, and we could, I guess if we wanted to, we could do like dot select outcome. I think you can also get the outcome column. Here's another thing. We could have done this, and I think this has a unique. So this would be like doing it directly on the series. So okay. All right. Nice. And then let's see. Sort. Wow, I've actually really forgotten the a lot of the pullers, how to use pullers, so that's really great. But okay, so let's see. I'm gonna actually use one more tool. Let me do this. Pip install reactable. This is a tool I maintain. Let me just pull it up. So reactable helps you make reactive tables in Python. So like this, it's just a little bit easier, I find, to like preview things and super fast. And I'm going to use it because it would be nice to browse data, I think, in reactable. So I'm going to do from reactable import reactable, and then I need this one piece called embed CSS. Okay, so that's wrong. Reactable. Okay, very cool. And then embed CSS. This actually only needs to be run once, like through this whole session, but okay, so now we can do reactable here. Okay, so notice now it's a little bit easier to browse. And also if I do filterable true, I can really easily look for things. I just find this a little bit easier than these view data panes because these tend to like throw a lot at you. I just want like a little tiny glimpse at the data and to be able to filter. So, okay, so I'm looking for delivery at, okay, so that's not this. Let's see, high volume hospital. I mean, okay, so I don't know, actually have no idea where in the data this is. We could feed it to an LLM and ask it. That actually is not a bad strategy. It's like a pretty good move. I'm gonna rough it a little bit more, but let's see. So I actually have no idea. This figure was based off a figure. Okay, so this is actually a figure based on a figure. So it's not from the article. So it's my bad. Okay, so these probably are. These aren't off the model. These are actually just based on something else. So wait, but we're already to the appendix. So now I don't know. Now I'm actually super confused. Okay, so maybe the figure is based on something else, but where is the, let's see, is model even, okay, let's see. Oh, it's a Shiny app, that's cool. Let's see what these interactive tables are. Oh no, I don't know that I'm going to be able to. Okay, great. Actually, this seems pretty useful. So this is a thing for searching. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. if I can pull out any of the really useful bits though. So results. Okay, I could look at how many articles were interventional studies, but I don't think that would be super fun. Access to care. I think that it's going to be kind of hard to map. Okay, great. So actually, it looks like... Okay, so this is useful. I think that this one at least is flagging. This flags access to care. So, I mean, that's one way to find the articles. Let's see. Let me just glance at what else. So, significant regarding very interesting. Several studies. Where's the... I guess I'm just very confused on the data. Like what... There might be like a methods appendix or something. Let's see. I'm gonna crack open this supplement and see. Ugh, I don't really want to download it. Okay, so what am I looking at here? All articles. Okay, maybe we just. All right, let's just look at the articles and try to see what's in them. I think that I would probably have to sit down and appreciate the context a bit more. I don't think this is one I could really just jump into without broader context on the model. I think without details on like the model's creation, I think that it would be kind of hard to do. But we can take things like, I think things like this are useful because we can see things that they care about. For example, like journals, things like this. So for example, like one easy question to ask is like how many articles from each journal do they have? I don't know. Subspecialties, maybe we could do things like that. Let's just try to get a quick win. So, all right. Okay, so I'm gonna go df article, and then I'm gonna look at I'm gonna say like plot each count articles for each journal and year of publication, and I'm gonna import Plotnine. From Plotnine, import everything. Let me just run this here. All right, so df article, we want to look at journal and year. So let's do this and just feed this into ggplot. All right, I think it's picked up on the gist. Geom bar, that sounds right. Let's see. Okay, great. So it's not the prettiest plot, but you know, we've got one on the board. I feel like that's what counts. So okay, what I'm gonna do is there's an easy fix to this, chord flip. I'm just gonna do this so that the text can kind of breathe a bit. This actually still is a little bit jacked up. So what I'm gonna do is, let's see, and do theme. Yeah, it knows. Okay, so I'm gonna hjust 45 or oh wait, it is hjust1. I was gonna rotate 45 degrees. Okay, just to try to get the text a little more viewable. The other thing is that this is really the fill being journal is we need to turn the legend off. So that might be like scale. There's other ways to turn off the legend, but actually let's do this. Guide, color bar. I think here you can turn legend off. I think it needs to go to this guides thing. Let's see. Nice. Oh, didn't work. All right. How do I can't believe I've forgotten how to turn the legend off. Okay, I think this works though. Legend position. Yeah, okay. So basically there's a few ways to turn the legend off. One is passing it to theme. The other is these scale functions, I think, have a way to often turn it off. And I think there's a third way, but this just clears up some space so we can see stuff. So now, American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology. All right, so these are a bunch of journals. Let's also count by year. So let's just do fill by journal and make X year. And see. Okay, this is way better. So now we probably do need a legend, but it's going to be so intense. Let's see. Let's just see what we got. I could also make the figure very wide, or we could break up these onto like multiple lines. It would probably be a good call. Okay, so it looks like it's starting around 2010, and it's going to like 2023-ish. So, okay. And they have more articles recently, it looks like, than earlier. We could do facet wrap by journal. Okay, but I'm going to do just one column so it's easy to see. I'm going to turn the legend off again. Legend position equals none. This might make it just a little bit easier to, not really. I guess this doesn't really help us compare it. We could do, rather than bar, we could do a line, in which case we'll want to, let me just do this here. We'll want to count up. Since geombar automatically counts everything, we'll need to do group by, this isn't how polars works. Group by year, year in journal, and then we'll do an ag. I think it's pl.length now. They recently changed it from count. And I'm going to call it n. And now we'll just do x and y equals n. We don't need a fill. We could do color though. Okay, geom line. I don't think we need this text thing anymore. Let's see. All right, so I'll get rid of this facet wrap. Okay, this isn't like, so this is the difference between stacked bars and lines. Like with lines, it's easier to compare within a year. Stacked bars, you can kind of get a sense for the overall, like the marginal amount. So like for a year, what's the total? This isn't really, I don't think this is my favorite plot, but it helps us see like, you know, it peaked at like this journal. Let's turn the legend back on. Had 15 articles. This is the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology. You know, in this one, BJOG, you know, very few, and then ended up having more. So, okay. So this is a helpful, like, little dive into, like, the number of articles being used over time. All right, so I'm feeling a lot better. I'm just mostly riding off this Shiny app, though, at this point. So one thing could be, like, authors. I'm curious about how many authors they include. So why don't we just see if we can peek into that. So authors here, let's see, where are you? I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure they have authors in this data set. This is also a good place where you could probably ask an LLM. Just dump the names, but yeah, I don't think they have the authors here. You probably have to pull it from the DOIs. I mean, it's not the craziest activity. I'd get, yeah, I'd get into that. Okay, so pull author names from DOIs. Let's see. Okay, could be a little bit tough. There's PyBibliometrics, so relies on a non-free API. Let's peek. You know what, I'll probably punt on that. I feel like I'd have to do a bit more legwork. Let's see, so we looked at journal articles by year. Study design, that could be good. Should we let's just see that. So I'm gonna call this journal articles by year. Study design by year. Let's just get a peek. So where is study aim? Study design. I don't think that we actually have that. Let's see. Okay, study type. Let's go. So let's do unique study type. Wait, actually I don't need this. Let's do this. Cool. Okay, so sorry, we'll just plot it. Let's see. So ggplot, we're gonna do I'm just gonna help myself out. Count study type by year. Year study type. We'll make that fill. And let's just geom bar it again. Let's see what we got. Oh, did a bad thing. I did not use the function aesthetic. Let's do this. Nice. Okay, so this is useful. We can see the count of study types over time. It looks like there's a lot of retrospective cohort. It also looks like there's some coding issues, like capital C versus lowercase c, that they might want to work around. Similar, like cross-sectional, looks like. So you could do something like with columns, study type equals pl.call. So this is basically how you refer to a column lazily in polars. This is called a polars expression. And I'll do string.to lowercase. So essentially we're saying make study type, the original study type column, put in lowercase. All right, I put that. Oh, okay, so let's see. It's also really annoying. So basically, formatters will collapse your code onto one line, which is not the worst, but oftentimes with data analysis, I kind of want a pipe-like structure or a chain. So here I'm gonna, you can actually use a comment to basically induce it to put all of the chain or the like operations on their own lines. All right, so this is useful. We got rid of some of the repeat codings. There's also this interesting NA. I think this is the word NA. If there were missing values, I think they'd show up in Plotnine as like a gray NA bar. All right, so this is useful. We can see there's tons of retrospective cohort studies. I'm actually really unfamiliar with the medical literature. I'm a cognitive psychologist by training. So this is pretty outside my wheelhouse. And then you have some case control studies here, it looks like. All right. So, you know, one thing we could ask is like, it could be worthwhile to see like which journals tend to do which studies. Like it could be that some journals do one kind more than others. Like, I don't know why I pasted that. Do journals do certain types of studies more often? Okay, so we could, yeah, I think it's probably picked up the plot. Let's see. Something by journal and study type. We don't really need to sort it, but that's okay. Journal on the x-axis. I'll take it. And then they could use a geom call here. Let's just change this. So this is going to be side-by-side bar chart. Let's see. It's a little bit intense. I think that the biggest problem is mostly the journal names again. Let's just grab this theme. Oh, and we need to lowercase the stuff again. So I'm gonna keep the legend. Okay, so all right, this isn't it's not my favorite plot, I gotta admit, but it's also not my least favorite plot. So there's a couple things we could do. So one is we want to fix this again. So I'm just gonna grab this. Basically, I'm not too worried about like cleaning everything up yet. I feel pretty okay with just pasting in some of this for now. So, oop, but I did screw up. So put this to late. All right, so with columns. Okay, so now these are fixed by making them lowercase. The thing is that some of these journals they just have higher, probably base amounts. It is interesting, retrospective cohort seems to just be the biggest. One thing we could do is, if you want, it's maybe not the best choice here, but you can do, instead of dodge, you can do fill, which does proportions. Here now you can't really see the raw numbers, but you can see like what proportion of each type do people do. So it looks like this one tends to do more case controls, fewer retrospective cohorts. this one there's more of a mix. But they all seem to do a lot of retrospective cohort, which I think makes sense for some reason that you're looking back. I don't know. I should probably Google like what is retrospective cohort. Existing data. Yeah, so it's some kind of observational study. Nice. Okay, so yeah, I think that's useful. So the one thing I was curious about is would some journals do a lot more of one type than the other, but it doesn't seem too like all over the place. I think this is pretty interesting. I thought there might be like specialized journals. All right. So that's just a rough feel there. Let's see. So, okay, I think life's a lot better in articles because I lack the domain expertise, I think, to really get in the model quickly, but this has been really helpful. So let's see more article stuff maybe. That's like probably as good as I'm gonna get. All right, so this is the stuff for like, yeah, race 1 group, race 2 group, so all their different groups. Let's see, what else do we have? You know what? I would dip into model again. I probably shouldn't, but let's see, outcome. I feel like I shouldn't go back to it, but I actually do feel like we can maybe get something close to the article. Just okay, so access to care and delivery. I think if we could just find delivery, actually, that would be great. So access to care model. You know, and something you can do, actually a nice little move with Copilot or things like this is we could dump this whole data dictionary into context. I think one way to do it is, and I could be wrong, but I think that actually if we just put it here, I think that actually if we have this tab open, it will, it'll work. There's one, ooh, oh no, okay, very cool. So let me just go to the raw. I do think like, as I understand it, sometimes LLMs are not super happy with these styles of tables, but I do think they do pretty well overall. So, okay. I could be wrong about that, actually, like, going into context. Let me just see. Copilot, VS Code, which tabs are in context? Okay, fun. So, I don't know, there's a lot of, like, guessing. We could, so one thing you can do is you can like include, I also use the tool Klein, so I actually don't totally remember how to do it with Copilot. I think that normally you do this. Let's see. Is there a way to add Copilot, add file? Ooh, my laptop's gonna die. Let's see. So I'm like so split between many LLMs that it's super confusing. Okay, yeah, you can do some that can't be right. I mean, we could try workspace. Should we just give it a shot? I feel like. Okay, and then what parts of the model data might have information on access to care? I'm gonna plug this thing in so I don't die on you. I got this. Okay, so model dat. Great. The access to care column. Oh, nice. Okay, so there's a 0 or 1. I'm loving that. So let's see. Oop, what did I do? DF model. Let's just access to care. Let's just see. Oops. What is this? Access care is not in there. Oops. I don't remember how to open this. Okay, let's just see. So DF model. Another thing is in Jupyter Notebooks, the autocomplete's a little bit better. DF model access. You can autocomplete column names. The world's so cruel. So, okay, there's no, it must be in the article. What? Is it just that the data dictionary is wrong? Is that, oh my gosh, it's actually in the, it's in the article dat. I don't know why it gave that advice, but okay, at least it put us on the right path, you know, so points for that. Okay, so we don't know exactly where access to care might be in the model, but we do have it like coded in the article data. So okay, so let me just, I'm gonna preview, that's not how Reactable works. Reactable DF model. Wow, this is good for me to have to do. Okay, so filterable, let's see. I want to look for, I'm going to look for maybe access. You know what? This is probably, I feel like there's maybe, I'm guessing this might have it. You can also do a global. Let's see. So you can add a global search bar here, but okay. I mean outcome, it must be here. So delivery to private hospital. Okay, let's look for delivery again. Yeah, great. So there's this. I'm just gonna browse these. I'm gonna do df model access to care, or outcome. I'm just gonna select this, and I'm gonna, well, I mean, it doesn't matter. Okay, so, and then we'll just use Reactable. I do hate having to sort of wrap, like, I often do this calculation and then I go back and wrap it in reactable. I do feel like it'd be nice to let it kind of pipe to reactable, but I don't think Python people don't love when you do that. They don't love when you overload operators. So like that would be, you know, like similar to ggplot or Plotnine, like something like this. But honestly, it would help my life a lot, so I might implement it in reactable. All right, so hospital. Okay, there's 20 rows. Let's see. Delivery at a high volume hospital, delivery at a private hospital. You know, I wonder if these are like, I wonder if these are just maybe calculated from the articles themselves. Like maybe this is just, maybe this is not the model. It's kind of hard to tell. I feel like, okay, so what would the, essentially we'd be looking for the point estimate to be, okay, there's another way to look for this, which would be we try to find the point estimate. We're basically searching a needle in a haystack, and what I'm looking for right now is I'm looking at outcome. The other way to do it is try to look at the actual value and find like we could look for basically 0.57 and use that, but it's not a great one. I think that this is a OR here probably means odds ratio, which yeah, I would have to. Oh yeah, so this is odds ratio like white compared to Asian here. So like, what are the odds of this happening for the white group versus the Asian group? Okay, so they're looking at white and black. So maybe we could, here I'm gonna do white just to try to get, we're a hospital in white. So now I feel like we're actually getting pretty close. Low volume hospital, high volume physician, high volume hospital, delivery at a high volume hospital. I bet it's this one. Odds ratio 1.7. That, okay, I see. This is decreased relative to white, but I think that, wait, 0.5. I think that'd be an odds ratio closer to like 2 or 0.5. It depends on which is the numerator. I'm also I haven't done odds ratios in a while, so I could be totally wrong. Okay, so but I do think this is the one we want. And treatment at a high volume hospital. Okay, but this is treatment, so maybe there's a delivery one, like you know what? I just can't find it. So in hospital mortality. Let's see, white Hispanic. Wow, I'm really liking reactable though. This is really working for me. So Let's see, white and receiving treatment at a high. Now we're looking for delivery. Maternal? Let's try to flip it. Maybe it's the comparison group is white. No. You know what? I think we're done. Honestly, though, this was helpful to have to do. I think as a person maintaining Reactable for Python, like, it's helpful for me to see that this way of searching actually sparks a lot of joy. I think that there's also a way to be able to adjust the adjustable columns. Let me just see if it can autocomplete. Wow, okay. I thought there's a way to let me look at the Reactable docs. I think there's a way to let you adjust the columns a little bit. That would be useful here for like these that get really long. I could see either cutting them off, like truncating them, or making this column a little wider so that you can kind of navigate. Let's see, adjust. There's actually column resizing. Okay. Yeah, resizable, true. So that's exactly what we want. Resizable, true, filterable, true. And then this way we can, like, as we're going, kind of like move things out of the way a little bit. It jumps down to the bottom. I think that's like a VS Code quirk. There's like a lot of these tools have funny interactions with VS Code. Okay, so great. But all right, so I have no idea. My take home is I have no idea where this is, but if I had to spin it, you got to watch me search for a needle in a haystack. So I hope you had a lot of fun with that. So basically, to recap, we counted journals by year, and we looked at study designs by year. And then we really dug in to try to find this particular piece, and we just couldn't do it. So maybe next time. I think basically this video is probably more about less data analysis, more like tooling and navigating this stack of things that we have to find stuff. I will say, like, this app was probably the most useful because it helps me find things that it basically shows you what the authors care about, I think, because you get to see what they surface for you. It's also pretty neat. I think it's a really good use of an application. It made my life a lot easier. Here's some nice, journal visualization. So this is exactly what we did. Number of articles by journal. Notice they really beefed up the lines. And this is just a distribution, so a density rather than lines. Let's see. Wow, word cloud, that's fun. Race and ethnicity classifications is probably number of articles. I will say one thing I love is these tall bar charts. I actually find these really nice and fun. Like when you flip a bar chart, you can just go infinite number of observations, which is pretty fun. Or levels, I guess. Yeah, cool. Okay, so I didn't get too far or anywhere at all. I'm glad I did the article counts. Those are in the dashboard. we could look at like keywords, sources, but you know, I feel like we gave it a good crack. All right, so my take home is like, big Plotnine fan. I find reactable to be incredibly useful for searching for things. It's crude but effective. I think if you, I just find this view to be pretty both intense, like there's a lot of stuff, and actually density wise, it's not great. I find like you only have 3 columns here, and your ID is already so packed. I don't think you want uh well, you already are like competing for space in your IDE, and like you only have this much window. I think you want actually a pretty dense display with a lot of columns so you can get a big kind of picture and scan the data. I do like these bar charts. Um, I think going on to Copilot, like that was helpful. So we used Workspace so that Copilot could pull up the data dictionary. Um, Unfortunately, I don't. It's really bizarre. It got this wrong. We're using GPT 4.0, which is pretty good. I don't know. I don't know if I. Oh, you know what? Okay. So the model I think really appeased me. Like I said what parts of the model data, and so it did its best. It basically this was in the article data, but I think this really threw it off. Um, Maybe we'll chalk that up to human error, you know. So that's, I feel like that's a good glimpse. I think next I'll be interested to use more like uh, LLM assistants. I'm still trying to work out like the right flow inside of an IDE, but I feel pretty close. So that was my rough attempt at a Tidy Tuesday, and excited to see what people do. Thanks.